like, okay, I use my notes app, like, so what? But it's just different, and today I'm going to show you my entire setup for the entire thing. It took me a few weeks to get it fully the way that I wanted it, and I have different sections for a bunch of different things, so without further ado, I'm going to show you my Notion. So this is what the little app icon looks like down here, and I have it on my iPad and my phone. Okay, so this is what my Notion looks like when you first open it. At the top, I have kind of my 3 like mottos. So this is like my homepage basically. And it says non-resistance, non-judgment, non-attachment, which are like 3 kind of like very important things for, I think, living like your most wholesome, like authentic life. And then down below, I have like my little icon. You can see it. This little like apartment building. It says home. And then I have a quote. I have, one thing we do know, life will give you whatever experience is most helpful for the evolution of your consciousness. How do you know it's the experience you need? Because this is the experience you're having at this moment. That is a Eckhart Tolle quote. And I have a quote at the beginning of every page. And most of them are Eckhart Tolle because he's like my favorite writer, author, thinker. But some of them aren't. So I then have my Spotify Discover Weekly. I have my Watch Later playlist on YouTube. And then I have these like infographics that I made. I got the concept from like an online source. One is like a wheel of emotion over here. You can see has love, joy, fear, anger, sadness, and surprise, and then it breaks those up into other categories or like other more like descriptive words for expressing your emotions. And I really like that because it helps me to identify how I'm feeling, because that can be really hard for me. So I really enjoy that. I also have like kind of just like the 4 pillars of like a like fully actualized life. So you have like relationship management, social awareness, self-management, and self-awareness. So it's kind of like external versus internal kind of development, right? Then I have like all of the this is crazy, but I have all of the definitions for the emotional terminology on that graph. And it just, if I'm feeling confused, it helps me to pinpoint how I'm feeling. So I list out each one and what the identifiers of that emotion are. And then I have my a little like link to my other pages. So yeah, that is my home page. I don't frequent this page that often. It's mostly just like a touch base, like, you know, for the rest. I use this next page a lot more frequently. You can go over to the menu and I will show you my next section, which is tracking. I have my icon up here at the top, my title for tracking, and then I have my quote, which is, all you need to know and observe in yourself is this: whenever you feel superior or inferior to anyone, that's the ego in you. Then we go into my like weekday tracking, which is, I'm gonna have to bleep out a lot of this information because it's way too much information for YouTube. But I track basically my entire life because I have mental illness. Kind of. Mostly, I like to see growth and development and how I'm improving or things that I'm slacking on in like a tangible way. And I usually keep a bullet journal. calories for the day. I track if I've eaten before 10 a.m. and if I eat after 7 p.m. So I usually try to make that my intermittent fasting period, which I'm honestly thinking about restructuring because I've read and seen a lot about the impact fasting has on your fertility, and so I need to do some more research into that. But usually I try to eat anywhere between 10 a.m. and 7 p.m. and not any time after before that. So then I've been doing really bad at this one. I did okay for a little bit, but I was tracking if I was getting ready for the day, because I do notice that that has a huge impact on my mood and how I feel about myself. So I try to track if I got dressed that day, like dressed up nicer than usual, if I did my hair, and if I did my makeup. And I haven't been doing that at all lately, mostly because I'm working ridiculous hours. I've been pulling like 11-hour days for the last week, and it's going to be really hard, you guys, for sure. But I also track if I did waist training that day. I stopped doing that whenever I was pregnant because it's stupid to do while you're pregnant. So I wasn't doing that. And then I just got back into it this last week or so. I do, if I've done my skincare, which includes like facial sculpting with a gouache, and if I did like my creams and everything like that. I track if I did my butt workout and my ab workout, if I did Kegels for the day. I track if I did my Spanish lesson and sign language lesson, if I read for at least 15 minutes, and if I meditated, and that could be anywhere from 1 minute to 15-minute meditations. I then track my banking, so what's in my checking, savings, and my credit card balance. So yeah, that is what I do. I'm gonna have to blank out some of this because I don't want you guys to know some information about me because it's a little embarrassing. But yeah, that is that on that. It mostly just holds me accountable. And if I'm doing really good, I can actually see that I'm doing good, and I'm less likely to talk down to myself about being a lazy piece of shit. So I have what I do for like a daily workout every day, and then I have information on like my measurements and things like that. I have self-nurturing, which I got this idea from, I think her name is Lana Blakely or something like that. She's the video I linked down below of the Notion Door I followed. But this is something that she did, and why is some of this being so weird? So yeah, I put the day of the week, the date, and then I did it by different categories, and it's basically just things I did that helped in that section of my life. So it could be spiritual, social, mental, physical, practical, and emotional. And so we have some of those there. I then have a section to help me identify if I don't know how to put this, like if I'm reacting or coping in healthy or unhealthy ways, mostly around my emotions. I have a really, really hard time you guys can probably tell by how ridiculous this is, but understanding and identifying how I'm feeling and if it's constructive or destructive. So I have kind of two streams, like if it's in a positive or negative way when I get triggered by anything, and I can understand like, oh, is this me responding or reacting? And then I also have a chart for identifying like things that I could be doing that could be harmful or could be productive. So that's all that broken down. And if you guys want any of this information, some of it is on my Instagram, but I could also just provide it for you guys if you're interested. I don't care. If it could help someone else, that'd be great. Then we have my like journal section, which I do because usually it's really productive. I have like a better way of getting out information. And then I do gratitude. I do like my high for the day and my low for the day. And yeah, that is my little journal section, which I'm really bad at. I then have prompts that if I'm feeling a little bit lost with journaling, I can go to. It's just different little journal prompts that I can do. And then I have my budget, which I'm not going to open because it's a lot of information, but basically break it down by my income versus my expenses and all of that. I also have like an area where it's like things that I'm like needing money for that are extra on top of just daily life, daily living expenses. So that's that. That is tracking. And then we have targets, which I also got this idea from the Notion tour, but instead of like to-dos, it's just things that you like aim to do that day. So if you don't do them, you don't feel like such a failure, like, oh my gosh, I didn't do the things I said I was going to. Which reminds me, I just did that. So yeah, the quote at the top of this one says, if you don't sacrifice for what you want becomes the sacrifice. And I don't know who the author of that one is. I think it was on like a Daily Stoic like newsletter one day, and I was like, oh my gosh, that's perfect for targets. So then I have my basically to-do list. So it's the things that are like currently at the top of my list to do for that day or that week, and I can just kind of do them whenever. And I put pictures here if it's things that need more context or detail. And then if I complete them, I put them in this little folder. I then have my schedule breakdown, which I like this timeline view, but I can also break it down by board, like a board view. But I like the timeline because it like shows me exactly where I'm at in the week. And I did not do some of the things this week I was supposed to yet. So yeah. But if I break it down by board view, what I like is I can see if it's something for my personal life, something for my professional life, or if it's like a reoccurring task, which you can see here is like cleaning my car, like recycling, paying my credit card, things like that. So yeah. Then I have like a long-term section, which is things that are like a year out or like a few months out, things like that. Then we have my goals. Wow. Gonna change some of these around. So yeah, I have like goals for social media. I want to get pregnant, travel out of state, and I want to save $10,000. That'd be nice. And then I have milestones, which I'm not going to show because they're pretty personal. I'll show the material ones are just things that we need for like either a car or a home that I'm wanting to buy. I'm also really wanting to get a new phone because mine is garbage. But yeah, a lot of big to-dos on there, so that's great. This is just making me really depressed, honestly. But hopefully it's helpful to you guys if you're wanting to organize your life or get inspiration for doing it, but sharing it is pretty vulnerable, not gonna lie. Then I have my grocery section, which I love this. But I just put down things throughout the week that I notice that we need, and then whenever we do go grocery shopping, I'm not having to like rack my brain for what we need. I also have this other section for archived things. So yeah, I have this archive section that is broken down into like types of food in our kitchen area, so like fruit, veg, pantry, protein, things like that. So if I'm like, oh man, what the heck, like it's like things that we would actually buy. So if I'm like, oh, we don't have broccoli, I can see it there. It's pretty weird, but it helps me to clarify what we actually need. Is it something that we're actually going to use? Things like that. So that is my Target section, and I really like basically present myself in a way that I think is representative of myself. And yeah, it was just kind of an idea I had one day, and I was like, I really wanted to start putting more effort into my appearance, and this is kind of what I came up with. But the quote at the top says, "You're imperfect and you're wired for struggle, but you're worthy of love and belonging," and that is a Brene Brown quote that I really like. So I took some of these images, and then I have like the tutorial link to them too. But this girl who does like hair tutorials and like hair ideas, and I basically picked all of my favorites and put them in here as inspiration for days that I have the energy and the desire to do my hair in more interesting like ways, basically. And it'll be nicer once my hair grows out long again. But yes, so these are just some of the hairstyles that I use as inspiration if I'm trying to look cuter that day. There's quite a few of them. And then makeup looks that I think are really cute and inspiring that I would like to do. And yeah, that's kind of just where I can pick for the day what I want to look like and get some inspiration. So I used this page in particular a lot, and I got really good at it for a tiny bit, and then it kind of fell off after kind of life showed up. But next we have my project section, which is for any like work and social media creativity type of things. So the quote at the top says, "All creativity comes from inner spaciousness," which I really love that quote. I think that's Eckhart Tolle too. So I have different categories: social media, design, and YouTube, because those are my main focuses. And these are new too, but oh, okay, yeah, I forgot. So these are to clarify kind of like my focus as a creator, a content creator, like things that are kind of in my realm of understanding, expertise, enjoyment, things like that. So yeah. Then to help clarify kind of what is a job and what is a passion, things like that, I found this on Instagram and just recreated it in my style, and I really like it. So there's that. And these are all home decor projects that I'd like to accomplish or try to make myself at some point. informative things that are helpful to know. So, yeah. Next, we have design. I have just things in like a liminal space that I just are ideas that I haven't really gotten into yet, or things that I want to work on. I have ideas. I have stuff in like the back burner, things that I've completed, and then I have a breakdown of design pricing, and that's from a while ago. So, but yes. And then for YouTube, I have ideas that I want to do. I have the process that I'm in, like things that I'm editing versus things that are complete. And then I have like a miscellaneous section for ideas and things like that. So, this next section is kind of like one that I don't use that often, but I think I need to keep just for really creative inspiration. The quote at the top is, "But there are no random events, nor are there events or things that exist by or for themselves in isolation. The atoms that make up your body were once forged into stars, or inside stars, and the causes of even the smallest events are virtually infinite and connected with the whole in incomprehensible ways." And I really like that. So this is basically where I keep all of my tattoo ideas and brainstorm ideas for art, and mostly illustration work, less like design or graphic design, but more so like pen to paper, that type of thing. Okay, so this is like my bookshelf. The quote at the top are, "There are 3 ways in which consciousness can flow into what you do, and thus through you into this world. The modalities of awakened doing are acceptance, enjoyment, and enthusiasm." So I have like my letterboxed. I have like a section for where I keep TV shows I want to watch, and then I have a section for the novels I want to read. So this is like the media, and this is broken down into like novels, TV series, and I think that's it. I did do movies for a second, but then I was like, no, I'm not going to come back here, but it's the novels I want to read. I broke it down by the title, author, year, genre, status, which is like if I'm reading it right now or I need to read it, if I've read it, and then if I'm owning it, borrowing it, or need to buy it, and then the date that I started. And yeah, this is just the books that are on my shelf to read, and then the TV shows that are on my list to finish. Then we have the recipes. I did the name of the recipe, the date I found it or put it on my list, and if it's a sweet or savory, and then a link to the actual recipe. And I want to get more into rounding out this list of things, but for now it is what it is. And then I have a section for collecting quotes, which I really like, which I just put the quote down, put the author, and then the source that I found the quote, and I've really enjoyed collecting the quotes that I have. And then I have a advanced life relationship things. I have other, which I'm not sure is what's under there. I think it's just miscellaneous images and things. And then I put all of my completed tasks in this little section here. So yeah, that is, I'm pretty sure that's my entire Notion setup door thing. So that's that on